Hey guys, welcome back to episode 3 of Panic Button Podcast. Hope everybody's had a great weekend, great week, whatever. And I'm just tired of the snow. We've had so much snow lately. I live in the Midwest, so it's expected. And it just never gets any easier, I swear. It's still just a drag. I don't even own a snowblower, so I'm still shoveling and it's just not fun. I think we got like 12 inches and now it's supposed to be like -4 degrees. So that's always a downer. But getting back into it, here to talk about mental health, how we're going to get through this, anxiety, panic disorder, kind of my story and what I deal with. So basically, I wanted to talk this podcast about more of my story itself. I know in the previous 2 episodes, I've touched base a little bit about my story, told you guys that I suffer from generalized anxiety disorder as well as panic disorder, but I want you to really see where it started and what I've dealt with just so you can see if we relate to each other or if I can help you get through something you're going through. So, for starters, I realized I had anxiety in I'd say 2015 or 2016, and it hit me like a wall. It was terrible. It was scary. I didn't know what was going on. I actually thought for a while that I had a health condition where something was wrong with me, not that it was just anxiety, because I'd never had anxiety before. So I didn't know how it came across, how it presented itself. And I realized it walking to class one day, and, I didn't know what to do. I thought something was physically wrong with me. So I went to the doctor and they had ran some tests. I talked to some people and it came back that it was generalized anxiety disorder and panic disorder. And what I was experiencing was a panic attack. So that was a hard pill to swallow. When I was in college, and I'm not old, but I'm not young. So when I was in school, we knew of anxiety, right? And we knew that these things had happened to people, but I didn't know how it would affect me. And I didn't know that it affected people day in and day out. I thought it was kind of like a one and done type of thing. This is the first time I had ever dealt with something like that. So adjusting to that was definitely scary and definitely hard because I found out that I had panic disorder. And for those of you who don't know, my best way that I like to describe it to people is I literally just start panicking for absolutely no reason. It could just be a Tuesday, life could be going great, and my mind tells me different. And I start panicking, I go full blown panic attack, and it's just not a good time. But I'm still here and I'm still fighting. I'm still battling. Like I've told you guys before, I'm not going to be a victim to anxiety, mental health issues, panic disorder. I'm not going to be a victim to it. I've dealt with it for a very long time and it's had its trials and tribulations, and I have learned to live with it and learn to accept it. But that doesn't mean that my fight is over. It's far from over. Every day is something new. And yeah, I think that's the best way, though, that I can kind of describe what I was going through. I mean, I actually almost dropped out of college. It was my senior year when all of this had happened, and my mom actually had to come visit me because if she didn't visit me, I told her I was coming home. And I'm pretty sure it was my last semester of college, so I was so close to graduating. But that is the impact that it had, that I was almost willing to throw away everything because of how I was feeling and how it was taking over my mind and my body. And it was scary. I was young and I didn't know what was happening. And again, people don't talk about it. And that's still the reason for everything that I do, is because we don't talk about it enough. We don't know about it enough and we don't talk about it enough. And that was an issue in 2016, almost 10 years ago. It was still an issue. So that's why I'm here, to continuously be a friend, to continuously support you guys, to be an advocate, and just share my story. And we just need to talk about it. We need to get through these things. And it's not talked about enough because anxiety is totally looked down upon. And usually you're questioned that you're overreacting or something is wrong with you or this and that, and all the misconceptions that people have about it. And I'm just here to help us get through it and to talk about it. So, for starters, panic disorder changed me. It changed me in a way that it's almost hard to explain. It changed me as a daughter, it changed me as a sister, it changed me today as a mother, and even as a friend, as a spouse. It definitely had its impact on me, and I can't run from it. I can't say that it hasn't damaged me because it has, but it's damaged me in a way where it's instilled strength within me that I didn't know that I had because I didn't know that I needed to have this strength before, right? We don't know the strength that we have until we're faced with something difficult and something drastic. And this was drastic for me. When you just start to panic out of nowhere, it's uncomfortable, it's uneasy, it's hard to even explain. You get this wave of anxiety and these physical things that come over you. For me, it starts where I get the tingling in my feet, the tingling in my hands, and then you just feel like you got the wind knocked out of you, and I have to sit down because I get dizzy, and it's just it's again, it's life changing, and it's terrible. It really is terrible. You don't want anybody to go through a panic attack. You don't want anybody to have anything along those lines because you truly do feel like you're losing control. And for me, that was a hard pill to swallow because I'm a major control freak. I definitely like to be in charge. I have to drive everywhere if I am going somewhere with someone. I have to drive. I have to be the person who plans things, who does this, who does that. And when you're faced with this disorder that takes away that control, you feel defeated. And I'm tired of feeling that way, which is one of the bigger reasons why I did start this podcast, is to take back that control. Because when we talk about it, we're already taking that back. We're already showing our anxiety, our panic, our mental illness, whatever you're dealing with. When we talk about it, we're taking back that control and that power that it has over us. And for me, I need to be in control. So when I'm faced with a panic disorder that takes away that control, it's a hard pill to swallow. So I think that's why I like to, have the distractions. And I know we talked about that at my last episode. I like distractions, and I like taking back that control. And that could look different for everyone, right? We all have different things that make us feel better. We all have different things that we like to do. Me personally, I do not like to work out. And a lot of people that battle these mental illnesses love to work out, and that's their vice. That is what they like to do. And that doesn't work for me. So I'm trying to, like, at this part in my life, I'm trying to find things that work for me, that take that control back and put the ball back in my court, because this is my life. And as I've said over and over again, I'm not going to be a victim to this. I'm not going to continue to let it ruin my days. I got to take control back. And however that looks for you, let me know. Let me know what you do to take back control. Let me know what helps you, because that's what this is all about. Again, this is helping each other, talking about it, getting through what we need to get through, because we deserve that. And I'm here to talk about anything with you guys. And I want to know what you want to talk about as well. So feel free to leave a comment or direct message me on Instagram, anything that will help to get the ball continuously rolling, to talk about what we're going through and how we're going to get through it. Because that's the only way that we're going to continuously grow, is to keep moving forward, keep talking about it, taking that control back, and just not being a victim to these mental illnesses. And I have a great support system, and I think that that is huge as well. And I hope that you have a great support system because, you know, it's hard for me to cope. And my biggest supporter has always been my mom. And I know some people don't have the best relationships with their parents, and it's heartbreaking. And for whatever reasons, that's your personal business, who you talk to and who you cope with. But I really do hope that you guys do have a support system. And if not, I'll be your support system. I'll be your supporter. I'll listen. You know, if you want to get to know me a little bit more, direct message me. I'll talk to you about anything. You know, we all need to have someone that we can talk to that understands. And I do have a ton of people in my corner. You know, I have an amazing partner. I have an amazing family that supports me in and out, and they know what I'm dealing with, not to the extent sometimes of what I deal with, but they know that things happen. And again, if we're not talking about it together, then we're not talking about it at all and we're letting it defeat us. But there's a lot of, you know, triggers to anxiety, and there's a lot of triggers to panic disorder. And we got to figure out what helps. You know, in my last episode, I discussed Legos that really helped me. And I've also noticed that ice packs help as well. And it's funny, I actually talked to my therapist about ice packs, and the cool thing about ice packs, because I thought that it just felt good, you know, it changed my mood. But what the thing is ice packs actually stimulate your nerves. So when you're putting that change of temperature onto your body, it kind of distracts you from your anxious thoughts, and you're able to, you know, elevate those senses, and it kind of shifts your attention to something else. I mean, and it works. But again, everything is different for everyone. I know it might not work for you, but it's definitely something to try out. Still trying to get somebody to sponsor me from Lego. I don't think my last episode was fully enough, but we're still trying. And if you didn't know and you didn't listen to my first, or excuse me, if you didn't know and you didn't listen to my second podcast episode, Legos are a great distraction for me. They help stimulate my mind. They help keep my hands and my mind and my brain preoccupied, and they're amazing. And, you know, we all have our vices that we go to. And I guess my question is ending this podcast, do we think that sometimes having anxiety and panic disorder or mental illnesses, do we think that it leads to other vices that are unwanted? Do we think that sometimes, unfortunately, the anxious thoughts, all the anxiety, everything, do we think it leads to something more? Or do we think that sometimes this anxiousness pushes us to feel out of control and not find that control, and then it overcomes us, and then we fall into a hole? Like, do we think that anxiety that we're not talking about leads to something else more dangerous? And that's kind of my question I'm gonna ask you guys, and I'm curious on your thoughts and your opinions. And I'm just trying to understand how our brain works, right? And I wonder sometimes, if we don't have distractions, that does the anxiety get worse? You know, and if we're not releasing the anxious thoughts or whatever overwhelms us, can it lead to something dangerous where we have different vices that might not be the best vices? So that's what I'm going to leave you guys with today, is, do we think that if we don't have an outlet for our anxiety, which a lot of people don't, you know, a lot of people don't have something that makes them better besides medicine. And 100%, I'm on board with medicine. It's fine. I'm on board with whatever gets you through, whatever helps you. whatever makes you live better. I'm on board for that. But I'm just curious again, if we let anxiety get the best of us, can it turn into something worse for us? So, with that being in mind, leave a comment, send me a direct message, anything that you want, and let me know what you think about untreated anxiety. Do we think that it spirals into something worse? Or what are we thinking? I'm just trying to pick at everybody's brain, pick at my brain. We're trying to learn about each other, we're trying to talk about it. And I'm sure I'm not the first person that's asked the question is, what if nothing works? What do we do then? And what happens then? So let's talk about it. We're not going to push that panic button. We're going to get through it. We're going to figure it out. Stay tuned for our next episode. And thanks for joining in. Stay safe, guys.